Pam Ohm-Pitock. For everything, there is a season.
Good morning, Toastmasters and guests and Melanie. So grateful that you have joined and delighted that we have another member. It has truly been a delight already, and every Thursday I look forward to. And it is so interesting to me how life brings so many things and events and people together. Sandra, you didn't review my speech, but as you did your modified invocation, it certainly felt like you had an inside track to what I was going to share with you this morning. And truly, there is a season for everything. For those that are faith-based, it comes from Ecclesiastes. It is a longer read and would really encourage each of you to reflect on that when going through change, because change can bring excitement, uncertainty, anxiety. And this time of year, I always get reflective because there's just natural transitions. As Sandra introduced my speech, you see the change in the environment. You see the change in the leaves. As I mentioned, I love snow. I'm waiting for that. So I'm delighted with that anticipation of what the world will bring and what will look very different in just a very short time and maybe as soon as next week. So as I share this morning, I would ask you, what recent changes have you gone through? What has life presented you with? And do you see it as a gift or a grind? Do you see it as a gotcha moment or a great opportunity to look forward? Was it expected or was it a surprise? Aside from that, life events can come, and they can come very unexpectedly. And with the holidays around the corner, that can bring a lot of discussion and thought as well. Do family gatherings bring you groans or giggles? Do you look forward to having a full house or maybe just a few? But what does that look like for you and through the transitions? And if you weren't kind of anxious enough with all of these possibilities, you're welcome this morning as we start the day. And these really too can become inflection points depending upon. Certainly there is a smaller impact of the change of seasons, but to just use that analogy, there are bigger changes that can happen in our lives that we can't anticipate, and some come on as a surprise. I really like to see it. I had an opportunity, and again, it's really, I don't call them incidents, but God moments, where even this week, as I was very, very thoughtful about the time of being able to speak with you today, I had a chance, and it wasn't a chance moment, but I was able to listen to a podcast and through Emily P. Freeman, and it was around closure, ties right in line around transitions. I also listened to a podcast, Live Inspired, because I hope that I can live inspired, and that's through John O'Leary, and becoming unoffendable. So through transition and closure, and then how can I, for myself, become unoffendable and be authentic through times of change? So I'm going to share with you 3 transitions that I have recently gone through over the last few years. And some you're going to certainly be able to relate to, because one of them was working from home. Some of you might normally kind of do that throughout your workday, but certainly it impacted so many of us across the globe when that dreaded COVID came. That was certainly a forced transition. And for me in my role, I was doing it a lot. However, also in my sales role, was traveling quite a bit and would see customers and out and about. It was a great opportunity to travel and be in person, but that drastically changed when all of us shuttered the doors and we were inside by ourselves or with family, but we certainly couldn't get outside. Wasn't sure how long that was going to last, but for me, working from home, didn't think it was going to be so big of a deal. But then came technology. And just like this morning, back in the day, it was conference calls, but it was such a short period of time looking back now. But think of all of the changes that have just so happened in this last few years. So Skype, remember that. Skype didn't even have video at the time. And the whole idea of bringing in video and how do you do that and how do you share? And even this morning, as I get ready, making sure that my technology is all set up. And we then, through that change, We learn a lot, we can grow. There's bumps and there's bruises. Teams can kick us off of our meeting. But the flip side and the opportunity for growth, without being able to have the technology, we wouldn't be able to have a meeting like today. Another transition that I've recently gone through is an empty nest. And so the empty nest happened right after working from home. Also, my dog had passed away, my mom had passed away. So talk about an empty nest, I really felt that it was empty. It was a harsh transition, and it was definitely a surprise. There was moments of grief, not only because of my mom and my dog, that would be kind of a natural reaction, but my kids totally out of the house. It's great. They're young adults. They're off on their own. They're going to be great people. They are great people. But it's that whole transition, and how do you embrace it? And I really try to approach it with an open and positive mindset. The last one is more kind of philosophical, leadership. I'm in a leadership role, but it has certainly changed in the last few years. Even from career development, we always used to think about it being a career ladder, and simply let's just walk up that ladder and I'm going to get to that corner office. That's no longer the case. And it's not just because of the virtual nature, the technology and such, but it is certainly a different way in which we work. So it's no longer a career ladder, but it's a career lattice. And so you might make some transitions into a lateral role just to get the experience to get you ready for that next role. And then as a manager, it's very much open and transparency. We work asynchronous. Yes, we have meetings, but everybody does a lot of independent work, and we come back together and we collaborate. Very different, no longer top down. And so for me, it's taken a lot of reflection to see how do I need to adjust and get ready for those transitions. So I appreciate the time, this delightful time this morning, to share a little bit about transitions. I'm happy to share with you the podcast that really inspired me and gave me a really good time to reflect even more so. I'm happy to share that with, again, Emily P. Freeman is her The Next Great Thing, and then Live Inspired by John O'Leary.